Hello everyone, my name is Bettina. I'll be serving as a juror in the case of Patient versus Ashford Hospital. After hearing both the plaintiff and the defendant's side, I have drawn a conclusion whose side I favor based upon their argument, which I will disclose momentarily. However, in both cases, there are some major legal and ethical concerns that I have. In the case of Patient versus Ashford Hospital, the plaintiff has argued that as an as a patient and an employee of Ashford Hospital, she alleged that her protected health information was impermissibly disclosed to her supervisor. Ashford Hospital distributed an operating room schedule to employees via email. The hospital's operating room contained information about the patient's upcoming surgery. Information that was disclosed was included but not limited to her social security number, her date of birth, age, residence, insurance payments, information, and the list goes on. The patient's supervisor was not part of the operating room team, nor was he part of the patient treatment team, but he was considered as a senior administrative position within the facility. The patient is suing Ashford Hospital for improper release of her health information protected under the privacy rule. I have also listened to the defendant's argument, and she stated in her case that all information and health records are required to be in patient's file for proper treatment. The defendant stated that all hospitals have potential for information to be breached. She also stated that information that is released up to the doctor and other healthcare providers is considered a breach in confidentiality, and she further stated that that statement is a myth. They are not in breach of HIPAA's rules and regulations. She stated that Ashford Hospital they're managing their email risk and they are in HIPAA compliance. She stated that Ashford Hospital is meeting their requirements in policy and procedure. She also stated that at Ashford Hospital they provide training for HIPAA, which involves educational classes that everyone can attend. After reviewing both the plaintiff and the defendant's argument, I have reviewed our text, and in our text, it states that confidentiality refers to the ethical and legal mandate to not share information without the patient's consent. The doctor and healthcare providers are obligated to keep the patient's information private. In this case, the patient information was breached and shared with her supervisor without her consent. The Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, as we know as HIPAA, states that there has to be prior written voluntary consent for any patient information to be released. In regards to privacy, confidentiality, and the right to privacy, all hospitals must abide by these guidelines. And when at any time these guidelines are breached, it gives grounds for violation. So I believe that the key point in this case is that the patient's information was released without her consent. Therefore, she has a right to this suit. In conclusion, I must say that the defendant for Ashford Hospital did put up a great argument for her case. However, she failed to defend the fact that the patient's information did get released to the wrong person, and that the patient information was seen and released without the patient's consent. And that, in fact, is a breach of privacy. I would have wanted to hear more from the supervisor. I would have liked to hear that statement. But with the information that was provided for me, I have come to my conclusion that any information that's been released without the patient's consent is hands down a breach of privacy. So I conclude that Ashford Hospital is in the wrong, and they must deal with the consequences of having their patient's information released without her consent. This is a major ethical concern that all hospitals must have under control. It should be the hospital's policy that every employee that is involved or has access to patient records is is in an intense mandatory training so that no mishaps or anything like that can happen when concerning patients' information. And this is it. I just conclude that I'm in favor of the plaintiff. Thank you.